Give it the sound right. Can you hear me? Is there any feedback? Can you hear me, Stacie? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Stacie, can you hear me? Okay.
I can hear you now.
Okay, great, 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 great. Okay, I'll start this live. All righty. I like your background.
Thank you.
All right, let's see here. Get started. Make sure we're live. All right, all right. We are here at 5G News doing a live Q&A with the great mayor of the big city of Stamps, Arkansas, Miss Stacie Mitchell-Gweah. How are you today?
I am doing great, Miss Felicia. How about you?
I'm doing fine, doing fine. Let's just start off and plunge right in. What plans, big plans? I know there's been a lot of things discussed over the last few city council meetings, but can you share with some of the people that may not be there about some of the big plans that are in motion right now for 2024?
Okay. First of all, I would just like to thank everybody for the opportunity and tuning in. Um, and I would like to say that I'm filled with optimism about and excited about what the future has for the city of Stamps, and also and with some of the plans that are going forth. I am very, very interested in hearing from the community and wanting to see their involvement in a lot of these activities. Um, just to kind of give you an update of some of the things that has transpired since I've been in office. Um, I would just kind of like talk about a little of the highlights of some of the things that we worked on and that we are currently working on. So when I first got in the office, of course, there was a street repair that we did do for the city of Stamps, and it covered quite a few areas, a little less than a mile. That same grant, we are planning to apply for it again this year. It is due this year in October. And so we will be applying for that. It's usually like a 2-year cycle that it really goes in, but each year you just need to apply. Cities need to apply to ensure that they're in that cycle. And so right now, I haven't been able to see any other grant opportunities out there other than that street repair grant. And so I do plan on applying for that, and then also to get more street repaired. We in the city, we focused a lot on community cleanup. I believe that in 2023 in April, we had orchestrated a cleanup with the state program of Keep Arkansas Beautiful Again. We will continue to do um, we will continue to do the Arkansas Beautiful program again this year. It will probably be in the spring, and then this year I know that I am collaborating with the school in Louisville, school in Stamps, and trying to orchestrate a day that we would do that around maybe like Earth Day. And so we will be working on doing a program of that nature, and just again, just getting out and cleaning up in our areas and having our young people involved in that. Last year, we had started an initiative back in March with a nuisance order where we had revised that so it included fines and penalties, but also giving people an opportunity to clean up their yards. Due to our turnover in our police department, some of those things have um, not been as um, moving forward as I would like. However, as we continue to look for officers and build our police department up, we will continue to move forward with reinforcing and enforcing the ordinance of cleaning up our communities and things of that nature. And so, those individuals who have letters and who's had letters, please take those letters seriously, and please know that we will be moving through those steps. And if you need more time, to do not hesitate to call the office, make arrangements, or what have you. But spring is coming again, and we are needing to keep our areas nice and clean and free of debris, and also just safe, so that those abandoned houses are not causing any harm or danger to the neighborhoods or people around, as well as children who may be out playing. Another project that we worked on is Stamson's Louisville's Watershed Project. I am working with Mayor Dunbar and many individuals with the Arkansas Black Mayors Association and the Natural Resource Conservation Services Watershed Flood Prevention Operation Watershed Migration program to reduce the negative impact of natural disasters such as floods, droughts, landslides, and erosion. That has been a big issue for us, and it's been highlighted over this last 12 months or so, actually about a year or so, since we had the flooding back in July. And then we've continued to see flooding that has even caused some of our schools or delayed in our school because we couldn't get our buses out to certain areas. And that's just not in Stamps, but that is across our county in Lafayette County. And so the watershed project we are currently working on with Mayor Dunbar and with the Black Mayors Association. That program, we are still moving along with that process. We had our scoping meeting, we had our kickoff meeting, and we're anticipating to have another meeting in the upcoming months to talk about what our next steps are. And that meeting will be broadcast online, as well as it'll be an open forum for the public. The last time that I talked with Mr. Jones out of Dallas, Texas, he was planning on coming here, and he called about putting his boots on the ground and going to visit local neighborhoods, but also individuals. We have collected pictures. We've had also identified areas that experience high flooding during our last couple of floods, and he has those pictures and that information. I believe we also have put some things on Facebook out there so people can upload things for their convenience or drop them off at the city hall. So if you haven't had an opportunity to do that yet, and you have pictures or you have information out there that affects your area, your community, please make sure that you share that with us. This is your opportunity to get involved. This is your opportunity to also to make sure that your area is covered as well.
Okay.
Now, over the last year or so, I have applied for multiple grants, um, and those grants have been in direct of our needs, either needs that our department heads have expressed or needs in the community. I know most people have been asking about the senior citizen building, and the closure of that was mainly due to the flood. The flooding that we experienced in downtown due to the heavy flow of flooding, but mostly our infrastructure as far as our drainage system in that area. That has to be fixed. One of the things that I did or I applied for was a $500,000 community block grant to fix the drainage system behind the senior citizen building, but also go in and repair those areas where there was mold and things of that nature. The city did have or do have insurance on that building, but what we did not have on the building was flooding insurance. And because we didn't have flooding insurance and that incident was related to a flood, we were not covered. Most people call it 100-year flood that you see in areas where, you know, they may have flooding issues, but they may not, they may see it every 100 years. So for whatever reason, we didn't have flood coverage. And because of that, those damages and those things that happened to the senior building are non repairable through our insurance company. There, it wasn't insured. And so, having said that, I had to try to figure out some things to put in place um, to address the issue. Temporary, right now, um, the seniors are going to Magnolia, and then they're going to Magnolia every day, and so someone's picking them up, and then they're driving to Magnolia. Although it is a burden, and I really do hate it, I did try to attempt to reach out. I did attempt to reach out to multiple locations here in the city, whether it was churches or other businesses, to see if there was any way that those seniors could relocate to those temporary places. We ran into a lot of barriers. One is that some places didn't have a functional kitchen, or they didn't have a functional kitchen that was commercialized in the sense where it would pass some of the inspections. Also, the city actually donates that space to the Boone Ministry. And so that space is free to that organization. I could not find any other location in the city that was going to donate their space 5 days a week for multiple hours, that would donate that space or allow them to go in there for free. And so, because of that, the Boone Ministry had to look at other places that they had nearby. And Magnolia is one of those locations that they could still provide the services to the senior, but an additional service was that transportation to that location. And
Mm.
so, the senior citizen building and those services to the seniors are very important to us. And that is the reason why I applied for the $500,000 block grant, was to repair that building, but more or less repair the drainage behind the building so it would prevent any future flooding. Also, with the senior services that we are doing right now as well, is we did work with the Boone Ministry in making sure that the monthly food distribution for the seniors will still remain in the city of Stamps. And so once a month, the city of Stamps and the city hall will distribute the food to the seniors from that building. We're still working with the Boone Ministry, but their location for where seniors can come and pick it up, they don't have to travel to Magnolia. They're actually coming to Stamps at the City Hall to pick those up. And for whatever reason they have transportation issues, the Boone Ministry is still taking those to those individual homes. And so that is one of the projects that I'm currently working on. Some other fundings that I've had or gotten in place was with the fire department. Most of you have heard about we had outdated equipment, and so we was able to apply for a grant and was able to get that a grant to replace some turnout sets and protective gear and equipment for the fire department. I believe it was a $52,000 grant and maybe like a $9,000 grant, but we was able to get that for the police department or the fire department to update their equipment. We are currently applying for another grant for the fire department because they were in need of some other equipment. They was looking at a small pumper truck. And so we're still looking for funding for that because that is a pretty big expense. I believe it's close to $400,000 or so. It may be more now, but we are looking to apply for grants for the fire department to get equipment. One of the other grants that we applied and received is a $160,000 grant for the recreational trail at the Maya Angelou Park. And so that is one of the things that we've received. We've actually requested for $500,000. We were not given the whole 500,000. We was given 160. And so the plan that we initially had, we are going to have to scale back and maybe do it in phases. And then as we continue to go through those phases, we can reapply or apply for more grants and possibly still work up to our initial plan and goal was to put in place the whole $500,000 at the Maya Angelou Park to bring in more tourism, to honor her contribution and what she was able to do for the world. And for us to have a connection to Dr. Maya Angelou is an honor.
Mm-hmm.
I just tell you a short story. My children all had an opportunity to see her multiple times in Des Moines, Iowa. And I would always tell my kids that that's our aunt. So I would always call Dr. Maya Angelou our aunt. So my kids see her or are always seeing her as their aunt. And so we just say that's your auntie. But also in the African tradition, we would always greet our elders as auntie and uncle, and so that's just another caveat. So I really see anything that we would do with that park in honor of Dr. Maya Angelou is really honoring my ancestors, but also honoring my aunt. Even though I don't know that we're biologically related, but it's just the idea of us
Right.
having the connection of this beautiful city of Stamps, Arkansas, and having that humble beginning and knowing that she is now internationally known and will always be recognized. And we have a piece of that. And I would love for America, the world, to be able to see that and to have a part in that. So we're starting small at 160,000, but people in the community will have an opportunity to come to our open forums and our open meetings. They will be publicized on our Facebook page. They will also be publicized on 5G News, and we will send it out to other news entities, and they can publish those as well. But I do know for sure that those two entities will make sure that that information gets out to the public. Another program that we have is called Capacity Building. It is provided by a rural housing development. I've been able to attend a couple of workshops and seminars, whether it's online or in person, to look at the issues, not just what the city of Stams or Lafayette County is experiencing, but what rural America is experiencing right now. And what opportunities are there for us in the housing development part? Many people have experienced um, issues with their housing during this whole flooding thing for us.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Many individuals had flood water in their homes, in their yards, or standing water that's in their yards. I had an opportunity to speak with an elderly lady in our community about a week or so ago, about the standing water in her yard and how that's impact the foundation of her home. And I remember that as a kid being here when it would rain heavy, we had planks in our yard, and we would have to walk on those planks. So our feet wouldn't get wet and all of that stuff. So we had to build up our yard and or put things there to so we can get into our homes. So I truly understand what the issues are. And I do understand also the impact of standing water may have in our homes, around our homes, and how that impact us. And so, one of the being on the rural housing development list and have received a grant so I can get free help. And again, that's just it's a grant for technical assistance. So they are willing to come and they're willing to do analysis of the area. They're willing to provide me with information that I could share with the public on how we can address some of our issues and what is actually available to the citizens of this community. And so, having said that, with that particular grant, I've reached out and I'm looking for USDA funding for people who are interested in purchasing a home or building a home, or those who may already own property, may have already had a home there, but needing funds to go back and rebuild or tear down some things and do some things on their home. I think they call it rehabilitation. That's the word I was looking for. Rehabilitation of their homes. Now, all of that is not free, but it is something that's available in our area because we are classified. We are one of those USDA areas. We're rural communities, and we do have funding and things that are available to us at either a grant or a very low interest um, grant. And they call it grants because they say that the interest rate is low. So if the current interest rate is like 6 or 7% now, and then you're able to get a grant at 4%, then that other piece, that difference becomes a grant because you're able to get it at a lower rate. So it's not maybe not necessary that somebody's going to give you a check and hand it in your hand so you can go fix things. You will still have to go through the whole mortgage process, but it is funds that is available to help you. And as I get more of that information, I'm sharing it with individuals, but I would also share it with anyone else who needs it or would like that information. But that's one of the grants that I was able to acquire. Another one that we currently have now is one. It was a little over $29,000. It's a job readiness and mentorship program. We have identified 20 students who would participate in that program with us, where they will be matched with individuals or businesses of their interest. And they will actually learn how to create their own resumes, to explore different careers, to see what career options are available to them now, to see what type of career path that they need to take, what type of classes they should be taking now in high school. And then are there any classes that they can take over at the University of Hope, the University of Arkansas in Hope, to see if there's some if something like we got students who are interested in welding, we have students who are interested in nursing and teaching. So the University of Arkansas and Hope has some of those classes that those students could be taking in their 10th, 11th, and 12th grade. And so they could, we're helping steer them in the direction that they would like to go, and then connect them with those other resources while also providing them with a mentor in that area, as well as giving them some other skills and things. They'll be attending workshops and seminars. And so we're excited to have that program in place. And again, we've identified 20 students. Those 20 students, the only requirement was to live in Lafayette County, as the whole county. And then also that they would be between the ages of 14 and 18. Um, so that is the grant programs that I can think of right now. I believe that's
Sounds like
all
there's
of
a
it.
lot of good things on the horizon.
It is. It's keeping me busy. Um, so those are our grants and things that we done. And again, these grants are grants that didn't exist previously. So these are grants that did happen within the last 14 months or so.
Okay.
Um, the other thing I would like right now, we're in the middle of our amnesty. This is our second year of going through the amnesty program, and that date for us is February the 5th. It started February the 5th through April the 30th. Um, So if you have any outstanding warrants, failure to appear, failure to obey the court order, or failure to report, this is a time for you to really get out in front of that, get in touch with the members at the city. And during that time, the city court actually waives the warrant fee and jail time if full payments were received or arrangements were completed as agreed. And so last year we was able to raise, I believe we collected about 7,000, a little over $7,000 in old fines and fees. This year we're roughly about halfway there. But as people get their income taxes, even if you don't have your income taxes and you need to get in there because you have these things out, these outstanding warrants, don't risk being embarrassed at work, or being out with your family and then having to be handcuffed and took in custody. Um, Take this time now to really address that issue. We did run those. I think every year it's ran in the paper. We also ran it on 5G News. So look on that list, see if your name is there, and go ahead and make arrangements and call the office and settle those things up. If you can't pay in full, make arrangements. Um, and again, if your name is on the list, please go in and take care of that. If your name is not on the list and you see somebody that you know, be a friend and tell them and say, hey man, I saw your name on that list over there. You need to try to take care of that, because you have until April the 30th, 2024 under the STAMPS amnesty program to really take advantage of that. And so that's another thing that we have. And most of you know that each year we do a city. Well, last year we did our first City of Stamps and National Day of Prayer. I would like for that to be an annual event. Really having the community to come out and then really pray. And so we had that last year. I think it was the first week in May. I would like to continue to do that and work with our local leaders, religious leaders, local councilmen, and everyone in the area to really come together during that time and pray for our nation, pray for our cities, pray for our schools, and just come together being on one accord with an agenda in mind, asking God to cover our nation and cover our cities. And last year it was a really nice event. Um, Dr. Brother Mike Turner over at First Baptist was really the person that was heading it off, and I appreciate him so much. We had Brother Ian. I'm trying to think of his church. Church on 29, but Brother Ian ended up coming in, Sister Moss, Brother Adam Rogers, and Brother John, all of them came together, and really we had a really great event. We probably had about 50 people in the community that showed up. We would love to see more people. Some people have called and asked about broadband, where we're at with that. Um, what I can tell you that, far as what I know about broadband, is that um, the services are now available in within the city limits of Stamps. There are several businesses in town that are using their services, and when I talked with them, they were pleased with the services. At this time, the city of Stamps doesn't have Premier as their broadband service provider, but we are going to ask for quotes from them, and also comparing that with who we currently have, and see if that service is going to be a better bang for our buck. Um, like I said, I've heard people in the community who said that, businesses in the community who are using their products and seem to be pleased with it. I believe that I've talked with a couple folks who have their services that seem to be pretty pleased with the speed. And I've talked with other people who says, based on what others have told them, that they are wanting to make that switch. And so it is available to you. And to my understanding, it is much faster. And if you have a child in your household that attends school in Lafayette County, you can go on to that school website, and you're able to see a letter that is there from the Lafayette County School District, where because you have a child in your household from Lafayette County, that you qualify for a discount. I believe that discount goes up to $30. So if the services cost $90, you get a $30 discount, which brings it down to $60. And so it makes it a little bit more affordable. And so, again, and that ladder, you could use that for any of your internet providers, because all of them should be participating in a program that provide discounted services um, to people who may be in hardship or what have you.
Okay. Okay.
Many people have asked about the police department. And so I would like to say that the police department currently now has one full-time person. We have we did have a chief of police who resigned. Um, and he resigned mainly because in his letter of resignation was really geared towards just being in what he calls an hostile environment, that was mainly directly related to some of the things that you've seen played out at some of the city council meetings, or some of the things that that was played out at the city council meetings. You didn't really feel like he had the support of our council, even though he felt like he had the support from me as a mayor. And it also seemed like the people of the community had built really good, strong relationships with him. But however, he just chose to do something different. That was an individual who was retired and had multiple years of experience in policing, both on the ground, but also as a leader. And so we still do have an open vacancy for a chief of police. We currently have a sergeant one that is that we have that's full time, and we've interviewed again. I think we had 3 people who signed up to interview. Only 2 of those folks showed up. I did reach out to the other person, and that was a second no show. So I will not be reaching out again. And the 2 individuals that we had or have that applied and went through the interviewing process, which was a panel of community individuals, myself, the the sergeant of the police department, as well as members of the community. which was local business owners and residents. Um, those two individuals, I moved forward with them with all of the paperwork that's required. You know, they have to do a psych test and physicals and, you know, all these different things. And so we've moved along in that process with those individuals. I'm still waiting for I'm still waiting to get the test results back, and then based on that, I'm able to move forward um, with our decisions. And so we see what else about the police department. We're still open for applications. Um, we still need people in those positions. I still need a chief of police, and I still need to have at least two more people in our department to be able to at least run that department, so that the city of Stamps is being able to run our department 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Right now, we do get help from our neighboring county, so our neighboring cities, and the county, Lafayette County Sheriff Department is helping make coverage when we do not have anyone on staff, and I am greatly appreciative of that. And we are working in making sure that we get fully staffed. Let me see. I believe those are the things that I had to
Okay.
update.
You covered a few of the things that we had. We do have a few questions if you are open to answering a couple of those.
Okay.
Um, uh, well, I have a Facebook question that came in. We'll go ahead and hit that one. Um, one of our followers said that she called in about 2 loads of dirt and she was told she couldn't get any. She wanted to kind of know why and what's the process on the getting the dirt.
So I guess this is my first time hearing this. So my understanding is that she called in to get 2 loads of dirt, and she called into the city. Did she speak with Jamie, or who did she speak with?
I'm not sure who she spoke to.
Okay.
That's just kind of
So
what she, but there is a process, correct?
I'm sure that is. I don't know that process. That would be Jamie's department. But what I can do is find out what that process is. So if that individual could possibly send a phone number, a name and a phone number, that would be good, because then
Okay.
I can have Jamie to follow up with her and to share that information of if she's able to get 2 loads of dirt and what will be that process. And if she's not, what will be her option? Because if we're not able to provide that, is there something that the city of Louisville or the county may have something in place?
Okay. I guess this is kind of a two-part question. There was you guys had a ARPA allocation meeting, and I guess they're wanting to kind of know. Hold on, I'm trying to get back to my question. I'm sorry. It's in my phone. Where did it go, Lord? There we go. Okay. What was the confusion on the ARPA funds at the city council meeting?
I'm not really sure. Did they ask anything else about? Because I'm not really sure
That's
if there
pretty
was any
much the
confusion.
um that's kind of what they said. If they send me something else, I'll shoot that out there. We'll move on
Yeah,
um
I'm not.
to the
I'm not
next.
really sure. I'm not really sure what that question was about. But I could kind of explain to you. It's the American Rescue funds that we had, that we have, a little over 200,000, and with that, those funds came through the whole time that most people know we had COVID and all of those things, and so the city does have about 202 K that we have not that we hadn't used at all yet. And so we did have a meeting a few weeks ago that really talked about allocating those funds on projects or things that the city council, that the city, what is it that we are going to do with these funds? Because we have to inform the federal government no later than December of this year of what we're going to use those funds for. And so we just kind of got ahead of that. Once we cleared up our regular budget, we decided to have another meeting specifically about those funds. And so we had a meeting where we brought in someone from the Arkansas Municipal League. We also brought in Jay Click from Southwest Planning and Development. He's actually the person that the city had assigned to that grant. He actually walked the city through that grant, did the application for it, and he also helps us with the monitoring of that particular grant. And so we had a meeting where we could talk about what are some of the projects and things that we wanted to do. So in the last city council meeting in I think about last week, the city council meeting, we talked about we just brought those things before the whole council and the public. And so we had talked about, I think we like a water pump. We need 2 water pumps for the water department. I believe they was about $88,000. In that meeting, we talked about that. We said we all agreed and said there was a need for it, and so that was so we would allocate that $88,000 towards that. We also talked about that there was some upgrades that needed to happen with the city as far as technology, cybersecurity, update our security systems, do some integration of systems. So we talked about doing updating our presence on the World Wide Web, and then making things more accessible to the community, and having one place that they will go to that would link into all of our other social media sites. So having one page for the city of Stamps, so when people are looking for tourism or what's going on in Stamps, that they have a location that they can go there and see what are our events and things there. And most of all, is for our city to have a domain, a government domain, so we are become an official entity that we're able to communicate in this day and age.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the things that we have now are very outdated and doesn't exemplify best practices when you're looking at electronics and just digital society. So we had said that we would allocate, I believe it was $20,000 towards the upgrade of that. We also said that we would allocate $25,000 towards the upgrade of a mosquito sprayer. And so I believe those were the 3 things that we had discussed in a meeting prior to our last city council meeting. And so once we had discussed those things, agreed upon it, we had to bring it before the council. And when we brought those things before the council, we had agreed on those 3 things prior, and then having the council to vote on those 3 things, and that what we would spend our money towards. So some of the confusion that took place, from what I can remember, is that I think I had a council member who wanted to vote on 2 of those things and not 3. Wanted to want to take part, like it takes taking a package apart. This is a package thing that we all had a meeting on and all agreed upon. Now we're taking it before the public of something that we've all talked about and agreed upon in one public forum. Now we're in a second public forum. Then we all agreed our next step is to present it, vote on it, so we can pass that, and then move toward getting the mosquito spray, getting the systems updated, and then getting the pumps that our city so desperately needed, knowing that we still have roughly about $90,000 that we still need to allocate, but that we would do that at a different time. And I believe we had said we would do it in May. And so if that person is talking about confusion, that could be the pieces there. It wasn't that those three things wasn't anything new. We had already talked about those things actually last year too, and then in our last budget meeting that we had last month, prior to our city council meeting, and so I think that may have been it, but it to me it was a package deal that we had already talked about. So it wasn't a matter of picking something apart and accepting one piece of it and not the other, because that wasn't the conversation that took place. Um,
Okay. Okay. Well, I got a question. With that upgrade to the website, will we be able to pay bills and fines on there, you think? Because I know the
um,
cities around us have that luxury of like Louisville can pay their water bill online and stuff like that.
yes, that definitely those are some of the things that we looked at with the integration pieces of it. Is looking to see, you should be able to see, you should be able to pay your bills there. And there's a link that you can kind of link to it. But the when we looked at the applications of the other systems, you are able to link those. So yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. All right. And there was a question about the budget. Um I guess where is the budget at this point? How do you feel about it? And um do you see avenues for generating some more revenue?
So the question is, what where are we at with the budget,
Yes.
and then what are how do I feel about it?
Yes, ma'am. What are your thoughts on the current budget and ideas to generate revenue?
Okay. Well, the current budget, and what I will start doing for the month of March is there is a right now we just kind of say where the money is spent and how much money was spent, and check off on any checks that we've agreed to, like we pay bills. And so what I am going to start doing in our March meeting is to really say how we're doing to budget. So in each line item, if we're spending money each month, it should tell us if we're at 2% of, we spent 2% of our budget, 10% of our budget, 20% of our budget. I believe changing that format will allow us to see how we're tracking
Hmm.
each month on each line item, and I think that would give us a better idea. That format was shared in one of the other budget meetings, but for me it was almost like a day late, because it was after the fact to see how we had tracked, and we was already 11, 12 months in. I would like to start doing that and having that available to the council, so that we're able to see that every month and how we're tracking in those line items, to give us a better idea, or at least visually, where we're at. I really don't have any feelings towards budget. I just see it as this is business. And so money comes in, money goes out. You just want to have more money coming in than you have going out. Um, that's kind of like the big gist of it. So my goal and what I hope to see and what I've tried to do over this last budget was to have numbers that reflect uh, what it is that we've been able to show historically. And so if it says that we have had income coming in at $100,000, but we've budgeted for $200,000, there's really no number to support the $200,000. So we
Hmm.
can't do a projection of saying we're going to bring in $200,000 when we've never shown a history of ever doing that over time. Because that way we're setting ourselves up for failure, and we're going to be short every time 100,000. And
Hmm.
so what I try to do in our current budget is to look at our historical data to see how have we done in each of those line items or budgeted areas, and then let's choose a number for the new year that is supported by what we've been able to do historically. I believe that in itself automatically uh, it's going to show real quick that we've been over budgeting some stuff, or we've been overemphasizing that we're having money in areas that we haven't had money in. And so to the average person, it's going to actually show that our projections are higher than our reality. And I believe that our new numbers this year is going to be closer to our reality. And we will be able to see exactly, um, we'll be able to see how we're tracking with those new numbers. I'm concerned about our budget because the things that we currently have coming in to our budget are things that normally happens. Franchise fees, property tax fees, those are things that automatically is in our city budget, and how we can say based these are the numbers that we can expect. Well, over the last 20 plus years, our property taxes, our franchise fees, all those numbers have changed, and they've changed in a downward position. However, our budget didn't change. And
Mm,
so I'm concerned about that because our dollars that we bring in now are much smaller than what they were 10, 20 years ago. And our departments and our city has continued to run on a budget that is outdated.
mm,
And so we are going to have to think of ways to adjust to the decline in franchise fees, taxes, property taxes, and all of those things. And we're going to have to be creative in seeing what are some of the things that we could do that's going to be an economic boom for us. What can we do to create revenue? Um, and, I have some ideas of what some of those things are, but those things need to be researched and tried. Some of the things that came out of our budget meeting was talking about what are ways that we can generate income. One of those was looking at the recycling program that we have. Uh, we have it, but there's some opportunity there. And there are some things that we have to do for as infrastructure. If we wanted to build that program, we need to have a place to be able to store it where they're not getting wet, and we have working equipment. Um, so there's money that we can generate, but there's also money we're going to have to spend. So when we're thinking about that other $90,000, we need to be thinking about what other projects are we going to put this in, and will those projects be able to give us a return on our investment?
mhm,
So this is a great place for people in the community. When we have those budget meetings, when we are rolling out different projects and we're having the town hall meetings, that's an opportunity for you to come in and voice your opinion and to share those things out, because that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this question and answer. But there was also one of the questions that you probably hear me ask our city council members. How many of you have talked with the constituents in your area, and what have they told you that they would like to see? What would they like for our next project to be? Um, and so you will hear me constantly say that. What I hear is roads. And I've looked into road funding. Um, And that the one that I talked about earlier, that's one that I'm gonna apply for every single time. Uh, but that's not gonna cover a lot of footage. It'll cover some, and we're thankful for that. But what are some of the other options that we have in filling some of these potholes? Is it something we can fill up with dirt or some other things, or is there some other things that we can do in between time that will be able to address those things? So if you guys have suggestions or any of that, please, please, please send me a message. You can send it in this on this form on this platform that we're on today. You're more than welcome to email me at bringingbackthebuzz@gmail.com and send that to me. I will share that with our council members. Also, know who those council members are in your ward and contact them and let them know. That's part of their jobs, is to listen to you and to take your thoughts and your opinions in consideration and at least give you a response to those questions.
Sure.
I don't know. Did I answer all three of those? Yep, I think I
Yes,
did.
you did. You did. Okay. Um, Transparency. Someone wanted to know, did you feel like you are a transparent mayor?
I like those that feel. Do I feel like? I am a transparent mayor, and when I say transparency, a lot of the things and a lot of the decisions that are made, a lot of the times the public, it may go out. It may go out as a public announcement. It may go on Facebook or things like that. But I understand that people are very busy. I understand that people have other things going on, and maybe for whatever reason, physically, they're not able to get out. And so, some of the things that we've learned from COVID is how do we be a little bit more transparent and then also provide information on multiple platforms. Everyone doesn't necessarily go out and buy a paper. And even if you did, that paper is usually a week or more behind. Um, Everybody don't necessarily go and use social media. Um, Everyone doesn't always, we have different ways of connecting and getting hold to information. And so my goal, my plan is to provide you multiple means of being able to acquire information and to see it at your leisure um, whenever you need it. And so when I talk about transparency, as decisions are being made, that you are able to participate in those decision making processes and plans, uh, so that you know what has been said, so that you know what decisions are made. You are able to actually voice your thoughts and opinions on those things, and you're able to be a part of the process. So, when I think of transparency, some of the things that I've tried or I've done was create the town hall meetings. So, whenever anything is rolled out, I try to roll those out to you in a town hall meeting and invite you to those things. And if we have grant funders or if we have experts that we're working on, is for them to come there and you're able to ask them questions about these projects. And you're able to do the same thing with me or any of the council members. Also, I would say um, with our city council meetings, I know prior to me coming into office, if you wanted to come to the city council meeting, you would come, and that was your only means of finding out what happened, unless somebody else told you what happened in the meeting. And that information that they gave you is just as good as what they say it. So it could be accurate, it could be inaccurate. However, having the post of when the meetings are going to be, and then having those meetings recorded, you can always go back to that and be able to see what those meetings and what was said in those meetings. And so that creates a sense of transparency in our system. So I am very transparent, and I create systems and I create means of trying to do that even more so, depending on my audience, and I utilize technology to help me do that in this technology age.
Okay. We've got a few Facebook questions. Someone wanted to know when the grass cutting starts for vacant lots.
That would be a Jamie question. I'm the mayor, but I don't know all the answers. I have to talk with my department heads. Uh, but Jamie is actually the person that's over that department. And I just don't know. That would be, but you could call the city hall at the 533-4771. One of the ladies will be able to answer that question, I'm sure, or at least take the message, and Jamie could get back in touch with you. But yes, definitely that would be, and I think it's more or less, it's going to be a combination like in before. It was more or less the rain, if it's dry enough for us, and then also how high is the grass. But I'm sure that Jamie will know exactly when that will be, or a rough figure, because again, weather is still changing.
Okay.
But that is a
Um,
great question.
Someone wanted to know when will the food trucks be on the triangle?
When will the food trucks?
Yes. Is there something coming up with food trucks or something? Or
Oh yeah. So at the last city hall meeting, we did have the Stamps alumni group to come in, and they came in and they wanted to do food trucks on the triangle. I believe, I'm not really sure the exact date. I was trying to look here for it real quick. I believe it's in April sometime. I want to say April the 20th. Is that a Saturday?
Mhm.
But the Stamps alumni group is the one that's doing that. And so some of the people that was at that meeting would be um, Mrs. Um, Veronica Roan Gilbert, I believe. I also saw Mr. Michael Gillard. So if you reach out to some of those members on the Stamps alumni group, they will know the exact dates. And as they create those flyers, we will share those with you on the social media platforms. But just roughly, I believe that date was April the 20th, and it's a Saturday, and it's going to be in the evening times. And I hear it's going to be a great event. We definitely do support it. And I would say get a hold of Mrs. Gilbert, or get a hold of Mr. Gillard. I believe I also saw Miss Brenda Brooks there, or Wesley, Miss Brenda Wesley, that was at that meeting. And so if you know anybody, Charlie Goodwin, if you know anybody that's in that Stamps alumni group, they will be able to provide you with more details. But as we get that from them, we will post them on our Facebook page.
Okay. Someone suggested, have you looked at filling the holes with flush? It gets hard as concrete or asphalt, and it's cheaper than the other material that they use.
I won't say that I have. No, I have. I've talked with Jamie. I believe Councilman Sterling has also stressed some concerns, and he had some ideas. And so I do know that there's conversation around what are some ways around taking care of our issue that may not be so cost expensive, so expensive. And so, no, I haven't looked into those, but with the experts like Jamie, um, Councilman Sterling, I know that they have had some conversations, and they were exploring what some of those options are. And I believe that as they move forward with that process, we'll roll it out and share that with you. But Miss Felicia, if you could just take down that specific information so you can get it over to me, and I could forward it over to Jamie to see if that's one of the options that he have looked into or would consider.
Okay. I wanted to go back. You were talking about the cleanup, the community cleanup for stamps.
Uh-huh.
Is that something that the high schoolers, since they're having to have volunteer hours, is that something that they could use for that community service?
Yes, some of the conversations that I've had with the high school was well, we had a couple conversations. One was looking at if the high school wanted to adopt a highway, and that could be that could be an ongoing project for them to be able to acquire their community service hours. One of the things that I've talked with the elementary is during Earth Day, that we could collaborate since the elementary is in Louisville and I'm the mayor of Stamps. I work in Louisville, that I could work with Mr. Dunbar and looking at having an Earth during Earth Day, that we could actually do a cleanup, probably about two blocks or 3 blocks out from the school, to do cleanup there. Now, my young students wouldn't get community service hours, but any of the high school students who would like to come over and help that day, or like I said, on that Earth Day or during that time frame, if they decide to go out and do some cleanup on their own for the school project, they can do that. But they can also earn, whenever we're doing the citywide through the Keep Arkansas Beautiful campaign, those students who show up to those events with their paperwork, however many hours that they work, then I'm able to sign off on that saying that they did attend that event. And last year we did have students from this area as well as Texarkana that came over to volunteer, and they actually received hours.
All right. All right. I think that's all our questions for Facebook. I've got one last question, and then after that, I'll let you kind of close it out.
Sounds good to me. We said 30 minutes, it's an hour, huh?
How do you think the relationship between the mayor and the city council is progressing?
How do I think the relationship with the mayor and the city council is progressing? Whew, that's a how do I think? I think it like any new relationship, there is a sense of there's trust that need to be built, and I believe that that's where we're at with the city council. There also has to be a shared vision and mission for the city, and I don't know if that is quite been established with the city itself. Most times when you come into a new organization, some of the things that normally take place is like a getting together meeting, and we talk about and establishing a vision and mission and goals of the city. Although I have some of my own that I have, I don't believe that, well, I know that we haven't had a meeting where all of the council members have gotten together and talked about what are our vision and mission for the city, and what are some of our goals. We've talked about bits and pieces of those, but for collaboratively having discussed them and put them down and really start to direct our energies and activities, that hasn't happened. And so, one of the things that I would like to see is for us to sit down and be able to have some of those types of conversations outside of a city council meeting, more of a retreat or more of a some activities that we build around some really goal settings for the city. Our relationship right now that most will see on the transparencies formats that we have, which is being displayed at least monthly whenever we have those meetings, you see that there are a sense of there's a lack of trust. There is definitely a lack of trust. There's also not everybody's on the same page. There is some division amongst the board. A lot of that stuff is like unsaid things, but you can see it being played out. So I don't have to. Whoever asked that question, um, how just thinking about it, the reason why that question would even come up is because if they see that there's not a oneness with the mayor, the city council, and the people of this community. But in order for us to move forward, um, we are going to have to get on one page, and we are going to have to be reminded of why we're here. And we're being reminded by the people. You have a voice. Your voice is important and it needs to be heard. And so, if you have concerns, express those and give us an opportunity to address them, not to make excuses, but to address them and say, this is where we're at right now. This is where we want to be. And these are the things that we're doing to get there. And I think those are the things that we have to do to start to move forward. And so, like I said, with any new relationship, we're past the honeymoon period. Uh, we're actually starting to have conversations about, what is it that we need to do? And what are your level of expertise? And how are you able to help? Or what other resources do we have available to help us? Because a lot of things is sometimes people just don't know. And so if you don't know, what are some other resources that we can tap into to help us to move us from not knowing to knowing? And then once we know, we have to be responsible for the information that we have. And then what do we do with that? So
Absolutely.
it's growing. It's a growing relationship. And it's really going to start with trust. Do I trust the person that is next to me? And do I trust that person's decision making? And do I trust that what they're presenting to me is coming from a good place to move this city forward? Um, so that's kind of where I'm at with our city council. I believe we have lots of areas of growth, but that also means that we have a lot of opportunities as well. Um, Definitely, we have lots of opportunities, but I think we're moving there. And it's a little slower than what I thought it would be, but we're moving. I just
Rome
refuse to
wasn't
stop.
built overnight.
Yeah, I refuse to stop. So we're not
Yes,
going to stop. It's like when it rains and it's pouring. If you stay in that same location, it's going to seem like that storm is forever.
yes,
But
yes,
you just keep on itching, 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 and
yes.
then soon the rain becomes the storm is behind you, and that sun is shining on the other side. So
Oh,
we just
okay,
got to understand it.
real quick.
Mhm.
Last I said that was last. One more Facebook
You
question.
did.
Um, are the council members elected or does someone appoint them and when are they up for reelection? That came from Facebook.
Oh, um, I don't know. I have to check into all of that, but let me answer one question at a time. All council members and mayor and recorder treasurer positions are elected positions. So my position is elected position. All of the council members' positions are elected positions, and Miss Annette position is elected position. So that's the first question. The second question is, are they
Reelection.
up for reelection? My position is 4 years, so it'd be up for reelection like 2026, I believe. Um, so then the council members, I believe theirs are up this year. Yep, I want to say it's up
Yep,
this
theirs is
year.
this year. This year.
So I believe theirs is up this year. The way it ran last time, I'm not sure what all deadlines they have. I don't know that, but I do know that usually what happens is a person is interested in running. They have to. There's paperwork and things they have to fill out to say that they're going to run. And I believe that paperwork, for me, I remember it being sometime in August. but I'm not sure about those dates. However, the person that I know who knows is Miss Annette. So you can always get in touch with your city clerk or city recorder, and that person will always know for your city. And you can always call the county as well. So the county should also know those exact dates. I don't know them right off of hand. But all of our positions are elected positions, and they do have different time frames. And I believe that the city council will be something this year. But get in touch with, definitely call. You can call that 4771 and ask Miss Annette, and she'll be able to give you the specific details of all of that if you guys want to know. And right now it's early voting. So if you haven't had an opportunity to go out and vote, please, please, please do so. Look at
Yes,
those
yes.
individuals and research them on your ballot. There are positions that are coming up that is going to impact your life. So if you haven't looked to see who those folks are, please do so, because there's several positions that are up on a local level. And also, of course, we got our national, state, and national levels as well. But it's takes the time and go and research your folks that are on that ballot, and go there, yeah, and go out and get out and vote. Definitely tomorrow is not is it tomorrow Monday? Tomorrow, get out and vote, and I believe it's Tuesday the last day. I'm not sure.
No, Monday is the last day to early vote until 5, and Tuesday is the actual day.
Okay, so early vote Monday, and then Tuesday is the last day. So folks, please get out and vote. Your vote counts, and I'm telling you, it counts. Literally, I've been able to see that in running a campaign where somebody may have won by 2 or 3 votes in small areas in town. So it is important that you get out and vote. And early voting is on right now. Monday's the last day, and then Tuesday is the day, is the final day of
Okay.
voting.
So just to be clear, they said everybody's position is up for reelection this year except for the mayor's in stamps.
I believe so. But call Miss Annette for the city of Stamps, and ask, because she'll be able to give you the exact information. I just don't. I don't know it.
Okay.
But call if you're interested. If you're in Stamps and you're watching it, call City Hall. If you're in Louisville or somewhere else, you can do the same thing. Call your City Hall, Bradley. Call your City Hall, and ask and see.
All right. Well, are you ready to close it out then?
I am ready to close it out. I want to thank everybody, because I had told Miss Felicia 30 minutes and we're going to be out of here. But it lasted a little longer, and that time went by really, really quick. So, um, that was pretty good. One of the things that I want to say to individuals, there will be a public service announcement that will be coming out tomorrow. I'm giving you a heads up, hot off the press. Um, that public service announcement is going to talk about our job readiness program. We have 20 students who are involved in that program, and we are looking for local mentors who would love to work with individuals who are interested in a career. And we're trying to match the careers up. So some of those, just so that you'll know, is like welding, real estate agent, labor, a nurse, cosmetologist, entrepreneur, engineer, fashion designer. So the PSA is going to go out. It'll be out tomorrow. If you're interested in spending at least 5 hours a month with a young person, and you can do that in multiple ways, and we have all types of different activities, but you can actually talk with them over the phone. You can meet with them in person, or they can come in, like y'all can meet at your place of work or different places like that. um, you can also They can job shadow you, or you can also meet via Zoom or Google Meets, and then have that time with them. But I just need 5 hours. Somebody's willing to vote, to donate 5 hours of their time per month from now through the summer, to work with a young person between the ages of 14 and 18 who's interested in the career that you are doing. Again, that will come out, and if you are, there's some directions there of how to get in touch with us, and then someone will follow up with you and get you started in that process. So that's one thing. Another thing is, in our last city council meeting, we had to create a water advisory. I think it's a mitigation advisory team that needs to be comprised of 5 individuals, and 2 of them have to be from the county. And so that information is going to be coming out as well. So if anyone who is interested in serving on a committee related to our water mitigation, that information is going to be coming out this coming week as well. And if you're interested, you'll just follow the directions. And again, we're looking for 5 people to be involved in that. If you are interested in volunteering or helping out or doing some things at the city, or if you have a great idea, do not hesitate to contact me. The easiest way to contact me, I promise you, is email. You can call the city and leave a message, and I do check those throughout the week. But email usually comes right here on this lovely little device of mine. I don't know if you can see it, this phone. Um, and it's bringing back the buzz at gmail.com. And you can email me there, and I do respond to email. That's all that I have for now. I do want to thank you for the opportunity to come before you, Miss Felicia. Thank you for the invite for the question and answer for the City of Stamps Mayor. Hopefully, I've been able to give you an update of what we've been able to do in the last maybe 14 months or so. I'm excited about the upcoming projects that we have. I'm excited about the things that are coming our way. It's a privilege and an honor for me to be in this position to serve this community, the community where I was born and raised, and I contribute a lot of my success to the city of Stamps and my upbringing here, from the things that my grandparents, my parents, my aunts, uncles, cousins, like my whole family, what they've been able to give to me was a solid foundation built on love and respect and us taking care of each other. Um, and so I'm just thankful and I'm grateful. And like I said, it's an honor for me to be back home and be able to serve in the capacity of mayor, in the capacity of a principal, in the capacity of an entrepreneur. I wear many hats, but my heart is here in the city of Stamps, and bringing it back to where we was at before, and even better, is truly my prayer. So please continue to pray for me. Please continue to pray for our city council members, all of our leaders across this county, this state, and this nation. And I will continue to work tirelessly and in doing the work, and doing what's best for our town. Because we're one piece in this big old scheme of things, but we're an important piece. We're the heartbeat. So thank you,
Well, I
Miss
want to
Felicia, for
thank
the
you.
opportunity.
Thank you for coming on and getting with us. And I hope you can shoot us a copy of your PSA so we can put it out there on 5G News. And any information that you have regarding looking for those mentors as well, because that seems like a really good program for our kids around here. Yes.
All right. When I get off this call, I'm going to send it to you. So you will actually probably be the first one. You'll probably be the first one. So if you want to blast it before tomorrow, you can.
Great,
But I
great.
have tomorrow's date on there, so you're more than welcome to put it out there. I am okay with that. I will send it as soon as I get off this call.
Okay. Well, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And if you have anybody in mind that you would like to see another Q&A with, just shoot those to us and we'll reach out to them and see if they say yes or no. And we can ask the questions of the community. But thank you guys. Have a good and blessed Sunday and have a wonderful work week.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.